see, where is this? Hold on a second. We live for a minute. I've been out here. I've been out for a little bit. I had to get a new license. I don't know what it is in your state, but in ours you have to have a new picture taken every 10 years. And the last one I had to have done was over that because of the pandemic. When I got my last license, it actually was due for a new picture. So, but they let me renew it then because the offices were closed. Now, what's up, Bobby? Now, I had to go in, and by the way, I don't know about your own states, but I had to schedule just getting my picture taken. I didn't have to take a written, didn't have to take a road test, nothing. I'm aces on all that. Just needed the picture done. I had to schedule that almost 5 weeks out. And then there's no way to get your license expedited, at least here in Colorado. Our licenses are, I think this is the case with most states. So I wonder where they're all being printed, because our licenses are printed out of state and by another state. And so there's no, because I was like, can I get this overnighted? Because the way it fell was that it was going to expire on my birthday a few weeks back. And I had to schedule the appointment at the DMV 5 weeks prior, which was like 6 days before my birthday. And then they're like 2 to 3 weeks to get your license. So on all the apps, I actually had a little gap of downtime, and I'm just getting it. Bobby, Bubba Sue, Dashing Viper, what's up? Bobby, have you had to get it? Yeah, so Bobby, I had a real ID in the last time. The last time I took a picture was in 2015 or something. Was my driver's license with a picture. That and then it was a real ID. In Colorado, we've had them since like 2011 or 2012, the same ones. Plus, I also have a passport card. Are you guys familiar with passport cards? Because if you're not, and if it's just for flight, yes, passports are passports, but you can also get a card that is a passport card. It can't. You can drive and you can get off boats with it to other countries, but it does come in handy because it's served as a real ID and still does. So it's internationally accepted. If I'm telling you this because this is every state has it, obviously, but if you're getting a new, if you're due for a new passport and you get one, make sure to get the laminated ID too, the ID card, because it's only like an extra $20 when you're going through that process, and the passport process sucks, but it's only like an extra $20 when you do it. And it's just something nice to have because it is legal ID if you lose your license or anything. And yeah, I had to get one for Spark, but for some reason they didn't update the year, so I still have to get another new one next year. Wait, what happened? You had to get one for Spark. For some reason they didn't update the year, so I have to get another. Can't you just, I mean, didn't the new ID you got, doesn't it have the correct date? What I'm gathering from what you wrote is that it has the correct date, but Spark didn't update it properly. So can't you just contact them and say, dude, what are you talking about? Take a look, man. Come on. Yeah, Bubba Sue, so you guys in New Jersey, did you guys have real IDs before? I'm surprised because when everybody started talking about real IDs, I looked into it right away here. I'm like, dude, crap, what is this stuff? And this, I mean, it's kind of comical because it was like, I better look into what this is because I don't know what this is. And I looked and it said, oh, Colorado's had it since 2011. If you have a license after 2011, you already have one. So everybody's like, you gotta have real ID. And I was thinking, I do, I guess, because I just looked and I do. But it was when some people had that buzz going about, due to that date's coming up, you know, back in like early April, not too long ago, when I was like, no, mine is a real ID, and it had the thing. And then I was like, uh-oh. And that's when I noticed it was expiring on my birthday this year. So I already had a real ID. In fact, in Colorado, you can't not get a real ID. When you go get an ID, since 2011, you get a real ID. So I guess I've already had it. So Yeah, my original license expires next year, but when they changed to the real ID, they kept the same expiration. So you're saying they took your original license and it's a real ID for a year until you have to renew it? How did they make your old license a real ID? I mean, wouldn't they have to give you a new one? Hey, Kevin, what's up, bro? I guess they didn't treat it as a new ID. I guess they treated it like a replacement. Oh, that's so weird, though, because if you didn't need a new picture, man, they should have been able to give, I don't know what it is in your state for how often you have to have a picture taken, but they should have allowed you to just buy a new license with a new expiration. That's weird. I mean, maybe my state does that too, because I've never had to do that, but it seems stupid. Like if you're going through the time of going, oh man, I need to make this a real ID, and they're like, well, yours expires next year, but here, we'll get you a real ID that's good for 11 months. Then you come back and get a new. That seems really stupid. Why not just reset your date and give you whatever the expiration terms of your state are? Like mine's 10 years. You get 10 years on the license. So now I don't have to worry about that for 10 years. No, I replaced my regular ID with a real ID. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's so weird. I wonder if every state does that. I'm curious, Bobby, to see if every state's doing that. Like if people who have an ID that, let's say the real ID thing wasn't a thing, and you were gonna be like, like, oh, I'm just going to replace my license today. And they're like, well, it's valid until 11 months from now. And if for whatever reason you were like, well, I'm just going to redo it now. Why aren't they giving you 10 years from the date you bought it? I mean, you're going to come back. See, I guess my point is you're going to come back in 9 years or 9 months, and you're going to still replace it anyway. So you're going there that day. Shouldn't they just give you 10 years from the day you do it? Here's the thing, I'm not even getting, well, I mean, I guess I kind of do a little bit, but it's going to piss a lot of people off. But I mean, like, it's not like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where the revenue comes in and where it matches up to the point where it's worth the revenue to piss off all the people that bad. Let me see what Bubba Sue said. We had them for about 1 year, but our state is a mess. People are actually suing. Yeah, I mean, what do you need it for? Everybody kept saying, you need a real ID. Just so you guys know, I travel for the laser company often, even if it's just back and forth to Florida and whatnot. But I mean, like, you guys, a lot of I go out of country and stuff. If you have a passport, you're fine. If you have an old ID, everybody kept saying, you can't go to the airport, you won't be able. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. It's a little longer of a wait, but you can go to the... Okay. By the way, I'm here dashing, and the whole point was to tell you guys that Doordash is dead. This is just proof. I guess I'll take it because I'm literally right here, but it's not. It's $6, and again, in Colorado, we get the transparency, so it says including $4 tip, 1.8 miles. I guess it's fine, but I used to have $5. Now I'm saying that I need $7 is a minimum to do stuff, because I feel like 7's a good marker now that we have the transparency law here, because it just is. Like, I don't want to do anything for less than $7. Nothing. Not even 1 mile. I'm sitting right here and it's delivered 1 mile. I need $7. I need $7 to move my car, damn it. Like, break it apart however you want. But I need $7 just to move my damn car. And that's just how it's gonna be. You didn't renew your license, you just upgraded to real ID. Right, but shouldn't the renewal date have changed for Bobby to the date he went in to redo it? In my book, unless he paid some way lesser fee. Because here, I mean, here's the thing. For me to get a new ID in Denver, I don't know what it is in your markets, but it was like $32. There's no way to expedite it, but it's $32 for an ID. So, I mean, did they sell him he said it's 5 years in his state. So did they sell him, if it's $50 for an ID, did they only charge him 10 for the prorated only 1 year turned into real ID? Because if not, they should have reset that whole thing and given him 5 years from the date he went in to do it. I mean, I'm not saying that's a law. It's not. I'm just saying that seems really stupid. And even for the state, because they're going to get backlogged really bad. They should be stoked that people like Bobby are going in and getting these things done and giving him the 5 years, because he's going to get it next year anyway again. And if the state were charging like $300 an ID, I would get it, because then I understand, dude, they're making so much more revenue. But in my state, it's $32 for an ID. So it's not like the revenue is really that overpowering to the point where you really want to piss people off. I got a DoorDash right now. I'm sitting here talking to you guys, but I'm here and it might not be ready, but we'll see. I'm gonna go in and get it. Be right back. So anyway, though, I was without ID for a while, and all of my apps, or most of them, Curry and Delivered, never said a word. All the other apps flagged me as, you got to upload a new ID, and I was like, shit. So so this was $6, and it said and the tip is $4. Again, for those of you that don't know about the Colorado stuff, it's really nice to have that. The transparency, it just is, because I know that all you guys who don't have the transparency, I know you see things like where you're thinking, oh, $12 to go 2 miles, cool, I'll do that one. That's a good tip. I gotta tell you, I've seen, and I know it can vary, but I've seen $16, which goes above what even DoorDash in their terms of service says it can. I've seen $16 order going 3 miles at night on DoorDash, that from like Buffalo Wings, let's say, and it says total, because it says total and then the customer tip. Customer tip is included in the total, but it does separate that customer tip. And it said $16. I've had kind of a lot of these actually, but it said tip 0. So what you guys in the non-transparency states need to start knowing for sure, and a lot of you do more DoorDash than I do, is that just because it's a high paying offer does not mean it's a tip. Like this one, it just makes no sense at all. Like this one is a $2 base pay and a $4 tip. But this could have easily been a $14 order at a certain time, and if it didn't have the transparency, I'd be like, that's a nice tip, assuming it's a $2 or $3 base pay. The one I was saying, the 16, said 16, $0 tip. That means a $16 base pay. And I know that if somebody dumps it and, you know, and doesn't come and pick it up, and then another person doesn't come and pick it up, and they really need to get it out, I know they raise it, but this one, I've seen it go outside the perimeters of what they say base pay can be, and I don't know. I think that I'm just seeing it through a completely different lens now, because we all are aware how scumbaggy they can be, and yet now I'm seeing it, and it's like all these people who I, who I see that do way more DoorDash than me. They might say like, "Wow, did you see that? Did you see that's a good one. They tipped me good on this one." I now know that you might have had no tip on those, none. And that's pretty sad, actually. But yeah, I mean, like it's just nice to see the transparency, because it really has got, I mean, unless it's something ridiculous like that, but I still stand true to the, I'm not taking it if it doesn't have a tip. Just not. I mean, it's just like being stiffed as a server or bartender, which I was for so many years, that I have enough dignity where I don't want to take it, and I don't want DoorDash. I know that the next guy will. I do get it. I'm not stupid, but I just don't want to allow these people to not tip, and then DoorDash is paying you $16 to take this order because it starts getting so late, and we all know that $16 means less base pay for the people who are hustling, I might be doing that $16 order, and you might get a $16 order in Colorado right next to me, and yours might have a $10 or a $14 tip and a $2 base pay. Mine has a $0 tip and a $16 base pay. And they're saying, and they just kind of, I feel like they just figure it out on the fly. I feel like the algorithm's like, well, make that, and that's what they don't like about the transparency, because it's showing what the base pay is. It doesn't say it, but if you can do simple subtraction, you can figure it out on every order. And to me, it still stands true that, listen, especially, like I wouldn't know a non-tipper at a bar that I'm working at, but people never really, I mean, if somebody forgot to leave me a tip, usually it was somebody I knew, or a group of people I knew, and they just literally forgot, and they'd call me and be like, dude, we forgot to hook you up, we'll hook you up next time, and they always would. But like, nobody, I mean, you barely ever get stiffed for after tips, but this is upfront tipping, because it's not tipping, it's bidding on a service. And it doesn't need to be that term, but we need to start calling it something different, because it is just bidding on a service. And if you want to bid, if you want to go through the platform, order all your food, and DoorDash says it's this much, well, then now you have to bid on the service of like how, it would be great if it started showing it that way, like, right now, so here's your subtotal. What do you want to tip your driver? And then it has like wait times that show. You want to tip $4, you're going to wait this long. You want to tip $6, we can get it expedited. You want to tip 10, you can have it in 10 to 15 minutes. Things like that. Like make the other ones just be stacked back, and you'll get those taken anyway. But have there be, like, I hate it to say it like this, but have there be a punishment for these people who don't tip, because the apps have trained them not to tip. So now they need to retrain them, like, listen, the driver isn't getting paid unless you're doing this. So even though we know, I mean, as I can now prove, DoorDash does pay heavily if something needs to go out. And so I just don't get it, because it really is, it's very upsetting to know that they just say like, well, we got to get that one out, make it this much, because in the old me would have thought I got a huge tip. I didn't get a tip from those fools. So don't be in this apartment, man. Please don't be in the apartment. Man, it's daytime and I can't read the if somebody's yelling, I'm gonna kill him. I think somebody just said, yo. I mean, it was easy money, I'll give it that, but it also was me being right at the fishing hole I needed to be at, right? You guys saw that. I'm gonna stop in the shade for a minute. Whew, it's getting hot here, boy. So, yeah. Offer flow has been going good lately on DoorDash. Well, I mean, I'm glad that's happening for you, but across the country, order volume is just destroyed for food delivery. Plummeting heavily. So that makes sense. Upgrade, not a renew. Yeah, but they didn't. It cost me 60. Right, it cost you $62 to convert to a real ID, and then they're going to charge you another 62 next year for another ID, right? That's what seems crappy to me. They should have charged you a prorated 1/5 since you only needed 1 year of the new ID. And so they should have just charged you $13-14 to transfer that into a real ID. That's their problem if they don't want to renew the date. Seems, I mean, I guess it seems stupid, but Bobby, if you take off later, bro. Hey, Even Oscar, how are you? Mine cost me $30. They give me a choice to renew. So, Even Oscar, so you got the whole, I don't know what you get in Illinois. Do you get 10 years on a license? Because Bobby was in here, he said 5 for his. But like we get 10 in Colorado, 10 before you have to renew again. So they let me too, like when I had to go in and do mine, and so I got 10, I got 10 years now on my license. Hey, what's up, David? Let's see, I wish we had, yeah. No shit. Yeah, it is the principle, but the worst part, even ask, is that they, like literally, like what I was just saying, to all the states that don't have the transparency law, which is every other state yet, is that you don't know that. So if you see $16 going 3 miles on DoorDash, you're gonna take it, and you're gonna say, awesome, this guy gave me a tip. You're gonna be happy about it. I mean, not that you shouldn't always do a good job, but it just proves everything we've always talked about with transparency. Like, why not show it? Because DoorDash shouldn't even be like floating the tab and saying, you know what, move that $2 base pay up to $4. Okay, nobody's still taking it, move it up to $8. Nobody's still taking it, move it to $16. And then I see it for the first time, I take it, and I assume there's a huge tip built into that, right? No, it said 16, pay $0 tip. The other nice thing about transparency here in Colorado is that, so on Uber Eats, and I knock wood, I don't have wood in the car, knock wood. But if you get tip baited on Uber Eats, they still have to pay you the full amount. So Uber has to make a decision here if they want to allow people to remove tips, or if they just want to move forward in a better business manner and say, hey, no removing tips. I'm really for this upfront bid on service thing, and like if somebody puts in a tip and says, I'll tip this, and we've seen apps like this that even could have warnings that say, listen, you're ordering, like if it's Friday at 6 p.m., you're ordering during high volume time. This will take, after they put in the tip or whatever, this will take an hour 10 to get to you due to it being rush time. But if you want it in 20 minutes, tip more than $7 or $8. This would get people moving into because they do understand that the drivers get ripped off. Everybody's pretty much getting on that thing. So I think they would feel better, even the customers, if they felt involved in the process. Like, wait, the speed of the food getting to me is based on the tip? Yeah. And then DoorDash could just make every base pay whatever they want. I mean, I know a lot of you want higher base pay. Of course, we all want more money. I don't believe in the base pay thing. I think it's a joke. And I think to be honest, like I don't care as long as I'm making my money, I don't care if there even is a base pay. but it would need to be that the app, but if you're going to do base pay, just have it be a set amount, always, every order. And if that order doesn't get taken because there's no tip, well, we've always said that somebody's going to take it. Well, I've now seen in my market since transparency that no, they don't. People, even with the oversaturation we have here, which is ridiculous, no, they don't take every offer, because clearly this one went from 2 to 4 to 8 to 16. And I took it at 16. There were people not taking it at 8. It was only going a couple miles. So there's people now, especially with the transparency, who obviously like you saying about principle, even Oscar, like just on principle, there's some people in this city who have done a lot of bartending, wait staff, those kind of service industry jobs where they're like, I'm not going to do it on principle kind of thing. Like, no. And so why keep changing the base pay when, from what I've seen, the way they manipulate the base pay from 2 to 16, maybe more, why not just have them all be 5? All of them, or 4, or whatever the hell you want to do. Just have it be $4 or $5 on every order, and it doesn't change. DoorDash would save money, and people would have longer wait times if they don't tip. I mean, that's, you know what, that's how it should be anyway. You know, you're paying for a service. Part of that service is the last step of having the delivery driver bring it to you. And, you know, I mean, service industry people are not paid the same minimum wage in your states as people who just go in and get a retail job. So they're paid less because they get tips. But if they're not getting tips, then that base pay is really the pay. And so therefore, that's why to me it really doesn't matter. But I don't think they should just be behind the algorithm, like manipulating it to get orders out, or hey, let's see if this one can wait a while, keep it at 2. And I don't know. One offer, yikes, it's awful. Yeah, I mean, Derek, I mean, are you actually out working DoorDash, or are you working Uber and all these other things too? Or are you sitting at home and trolling for an offer? Or are you actually out and in 5 hours you only saw one? I mean, the volume is dead, you guys, and I'm not just basing that on me going out a couple of times lately or whatever. I'm basing that on the fact that I talk to people around the country, and I'm not just talking about drivers either. I'm talking to businesses and all these things that have slowed. I know businesses here that had Uber Eats and DoorDash, and because DoorDash is an easier system for them, they would just unplug Uber Eats on the weekends. All of those places have Uber Eats plugged in now. They're all running Uber Eats now because DoorDash just has no orders coming through. People are just not spending the money on DoorDash anymore. Just not enough orders to go around. So, but I mean, look, we all knew that was coming. I think you did. I did. I mean, even when, you know, before the pandemic, the delivery apps didn't pay that well. I mean, not a lot of people were using them either, but I remember them being around. And then the pandemic hit, and they became one of the highest paying jobs in America kind of thing for about a year, you know? And then it's just been all downward since then. But really, like, did anybody not see that coming? Because if you thought that pandemic food ordering was going to last forever or go up, I have people who still now tell me that, well, I'm just kind of waiting for DoorDash to kind of re-kick in again. And I'm thinking to myself, man, yikes, because this is as good as it's going to get. I mean, maybe you guys feel differently. Again, in your market, you might be doing better. But in every market, wherever you see it at, it's not going to get better than that. They're never going to pay you more, ever. Ever. They can't make money. They're making money by buying fake technology companies at the first day of a new quarter and then selling them off before the quarter ends or before the next quarter ends. So at most holding on to them for 6 months and then selling off the technology company so that can feed into the revenue that they're going to show on their quarterly reports. So I don't know. I was out in my zone for 5 hours and saw one offer. Are you doing other apps though? Because man, I feel like you're pretty smart about your money, Derek, and I feel like you wouldn't have done that. Like, well, I mean, you got other apps. I'm guessing you had them on. Damn, you had a what now? Carnifage had a $1 $1 app paid or catering order, and the rest was a tip for 40 bucks. So $39 tip, $1. Yikes. My son's been doing DoorDash and he's doing really well, and I've been doing Uber Eats and it's not bad, but noticed the volume. Oh yeah. I mean, and even Oscar, let's be honest, you're in Chicago too. A lot of people in Chicago. There's some cities that will be like that, but especially Chicago. I'd compare it to like even a New York, only a little easier on the driver. Still hard, but easier on the driver. A lot of people in Chicago. I used to go there all the time when I lived in Michigan. I had friends there in the music scene and all that, and I did production work down there. So I was in Chicago a lot. A lot of people I know in Chicago don't have a car. You know, they literally use the trains, even pre-Uber and stuff. They were using cabs, whatever. They just preferred that because parking, everything is such a pain in the ass in the city. That, you know, you might see a little something different for food delivery because it'll take a lot longer for the volume to go down in Chicago. I guess is what I'm saying. You know, in a city like Denver, a lot, like all the people, pretty much everybody ordering delivery has a car, but they've gotten home for the night, and Denver traffic is one of the worst in the country. So they definitely don't want to go back out and spend an hour and a half getting some food. So I fully understand that. And for that, they'll pay the $3,000 fee to DoorDash for their McDonald's. It's ridiculous. And it's gone up. That's what's happened, is it's gone up so much. The money that the apps are taking in is still generally close to what they've been taking in, but they've doubled the prices on the customer side. So that means that they would, if they were taking the normal order volume, they'd be making twice as much, not just barely shy of what they normally make in a quarter. Now they're making just barely shy of that, and they've doubled the price in all the markets on the customer. That tells you right there how bad the volume is. I had an Uber Eats on 2 and would pause DoorDash anytime about an order. So Derek, are you not, do you not schedule every half hour? I was taught that trick. For a long time I would just schedule the blocks, but since we got to transparency, I don't know. Another thing, guys, Derek's in my market, if you don't know, Mr. DSN. He's in my market too. And so he knows the transparency thing. Since we've had that, I can schedule DoorDash like for tomorrow or the next day, anytime I want. And I'm not a top dasher, but you can get in there a day or two before and schedule anytime you want. They're all open. So a lot of the people who say like the only perk left of being aluminum, platinum, I'm the man, I'm the woman, I'm top dasher, I'm the bomb, all that crap, all the games that they play, which I've never done. But all of that is kind of out the window here. And like a lot of people who have said, like even Kim, who does a lot of, she always stays at the platinum level or top dasher or whatever the current bullshit is. She always stays at that top level because she said that is that crucial and she needs the Dash Now feature. Here we don't need it because you can just schedule half-hour blocks for I could schedule half-hour blocks for the whole day tomorrow. And that's what I've been taught to do is to schedule the half-hour blocks. So I do like, you know, and because that way if I miss it, because I'm doing curry a lot where I do make a lot more money doing curry on the weekdays, but I have the blocks scheduled 10:30 to 11, 11:30 to 12, 12:30 to 1, 1:30 to 2. That way you get in there, you can come on 15 minutes early, and then you got the half hour, so you'd be working 45 minutes of each hour block. But if you get one near the end of a block that you're on, you'll just be able to go right into the next block. And people have told me that's the better way, because then you don't have to deal with the pausing and all that. So I've been doing that, and that's a lot better of a way. The only thing is that before we couldn't do that because, like, I don't know, Derek, about you, how long you've been doing DoorDash, but for me, you know, it's always been it was a para-testing thing. But now that I'm just doing it when I do it, is that I would schedule like 3 hours or whatever I could get on a Friday night, but I'd have to do that like the Saturday before the next Friday to get Friday. Any other days in between before we had transparency, I couldn't schedule a damn thing. They'd all be locked up. Now I can get on there and schedule tomorrow. You know, I can schedule. It's so funny. Like, so yeah, Bubba Sue's saying like that, but like, so like, let me see if I can, how do I show you mine? Okay, so like, here is my tomorrow schedule. And that way, if I have a curry or any of my B2B stuff where I make a lot more money, I don't have to even worry about it. I mean, if I remember, I'll get in there and cancel it, but if I don't, no harm, no foul, it just goes away. But it doesn't take away a whole block, you know, by doing this. And this is how every day I have scheduled out. But like, if I didn't have this scheduled for tomorrow, still right now today, I could get into there and schedule all these times for tomorrow. I couldn't do that before. You couldn't get anything scheduled except for maybe like a half hour at midnight, unless you were scheduling like 5-6 days out. Now I can schedule 12 hours out and get any blocks I want. I can do 15 half-hour blocks the next day. So that's what I'm doing, and I think it's a good idea. Everybody broke. I think people are struggling, but I think that comment goes a lot farther than you even meant it to go, bro. Like, W-2 workers are broke. W-2 workers are getting laid off. Gig workers are struggling. Everybody's struggling. Everybody's struggling right now. That's how it is in New Jersey. You have to, yeah. So that's what I was saying. Like, I was telling Kim that. I said, Kim, if you went to full transparency, like, I said this off the record with her, right? If New Jersey got what we have here, the full transparency, and you could do this easy scheduling like this, I said, would you keep that platinum top dasher thing that you've always kept so close for years now that I've known Kim? Would you still keep that? Because now the only thing worth it to you is Dash Now. And she said, no, not at all. So even, I think she was saying, no better offer. She used to say better offers come to the top dashers, or the people who are aluminum grade, platinum, titanium, whatever you want to be, whatever stupid title they give you to make you think that it means something. You know, she always keeps that to be able to Dash Now. But if you can schedule the next day, and honestly, like Derek can attest, I know he's got a rideshare passenger right now, but he can attest to this too, is that most of the time, like, it was never a hot zone anytime. If I open the app, if I wasn't scheduled at all today and I open the app, it's always light pink or hot pink now. Always. Every zone in Denver. And it never was before. It's so weird. Ever since transparency, they're not only showing transparency, it's like the whole game has changed. It's like you can Dash Now anytime you want if you didn't schedule, because it's going to make it look like it's really busy. So I don't really understand what they're going for here, because it's like, oh, we have to be transparent with the pricing now. I thought that was the big deal, but now you can schedule anytime you want. You can Dash Now if you forgot to schedule on any given day, anytime. Monday day, no event in town, 2 p.m. or a Tuesday even, dead, right? All of our markets dead, right? It'll show light pink or hot pink in every zone in Denver, and you can just Dash Now. I mean, that never happened since I've been on the platform, till we got the transparency law. I mean, it looks like I'm not going to get another one. But, you know, like even right now, like if when I end this dash, because you know how it doesn't show you how the hot zones are doing when you are on a dash. But when I end this dash, I'll be able to go back. Watch, when I end the dash and I go back to the map, the whole map is going to appear pink or hot pink or pink. It's such a joke. It's like, no, it's not. And there's not this many people ordering food. And it says things like, it just said like, estimated wait time is 5 minutes. No, it's not. Derek was out for 5 hours and saw one. I guarantee he saw one of those stupid estimated times too. You know, average orders coming in are coming in every 6 minutes. No, they're not. Never. I mean, and it's not even like that is a metric that you could use at all. You couldn't. It's such a lie. It's such a lie. Like I'm right there with him. Like I honestly, a lot of times since the transparency, no matter how busy it is, the first hour, you're not going to see a damn order. Nothing. You just aren't. You turn it on, and then it's almost like you want to make sure that you stay on for an hour. You gonna really work? Like, no. I'm gonna, you know. And then DoorDash also has that thing where if you don't have their app on the screen and you have Uber Eats running and somehow, you know, you've got them both running and maybe you're running other apps too, but you don't have DoorDash up in front, they can time you out and end your dash. The other apps don't do that. Like Uber Eats doesn't end your time of working on that platform or any of the other platforms from what I know if you're not on that screen. You can run it in the background. But DoorDash has this thing about, well, if you're running DoorDash in the background, that means you're running other apps and we'll just throw it off. So again, even that doesn't make sense because again, I'm speaking about my market with transparency. And so I know this is all very foreign to a lot of you. You're like, what is this transparency thing? That's because remember, that's how I was too. And we fought for it very hard here. It took a lot to get it passed. I was a role in that. I feel like I did a good service in that. We really had some battles, but we also taught our lawmakers quite a few things, and that's when I learned, listen, you really need to, you know, to get to the lawmakers. You know, if you're not writing your lawmakers, remember they represent you, and they only hear from people who are complaining about working for DoorDash, Uber, all these apps, and not being in a union or something like a union. And that's all they hear from are people who, in essence, even if they're saying, I don't want to be an employee, but I want this, they're basically saying, I want to be an employee. And that's all they're hearing. And they hear from a couple dozen people. If the people who really just wanted some reform and change, but need the flexibility and to remain independent wrote into, there'd be 100 times the amount of write-ins if just 5% of people working in their markets wrote into their elected officials. And I actually said something, a very long comment on a TikTok video, because somebody tagged me in it. Because somebody tagged me in it. Take me back to my dash. You know, and now, but none of the people, like, so in the TikTok video, there was a lot of people who were what you should write your lawmaker. And I actually wrote a comment, copy pasted it on every one that I thought, man, that's all you need to write your congressman with, or your lawmakers, your elected officials, the people who represent you, who are elected. But you know, like I was saying, like what you just wrote on this comment is what you need to do is make it an email. You don't need to do a paper envelope and a stamp. Just look up your senator and your house representatives, Senate and House representatives, and put your zip code in. Right away they'll come up, and even when they come up on a Google search, it has a link. You don't even have to go to their stuff. It has a link to email them. Just copy paste what you were writing in the comments of that TikTok, because there was like 20 people who wrote comments that need to be heard by lawmakers. That's how we got to change here. So, but they're not doing that. And instead, what I pointed out is, so when you put this on TikTok, you're shouting down a hallway and nobody's listening. But if you write that to your congressman, it will offset the amount of people asking to be W-2 union employees, and that's the only way that these gig apps will work. To me, I was just like, just copy paste your comment there. And I'm kind of giving them a compliment while at the same time giving them a slight backhand, because it's like, dude, do this. You need to, nobody wants to take that time, but it's easier than ever. You just go search your zip code and Senate House, officials for that zone. They'll come right up, and you just email both. And trust me, they have people who, the people themselves might not read it. I've talked to enough of them, but they have assistants and people who work with them that will read it, that do read all of them. Because when a bill hits the floor, or the Senate or the House floor, sometimes these elected officials haven't heard any of it. And so they have to be briefed, like sometimes the night before, but sometimes even they have to be briefed the morning of, on their way to the Senate floor. Like, what is this bill about again? And some are lazy, but they're not being lazy. It's a million bills come across their desk every year, and they can't deal with them until the day they have to be dealt with. They have too much. That's how much they're constantly backlogged. It's not a great system, but that is what it is. So, okay, where are we at? 47 minutes. This one's gonna take me a minute. It always does. And I'm gonna sign off here, guys. Hopefully Derek gets some runs. I don't know how much longer I'll go. I'm gonna do this one, and we'll see after that. But it's dead. It's dead out here. See y'all soon.